really the purpose of today isn't, obviously, this is not a fundraiser. This is just a meet and greet event. Many of you have never met the justices, don't follow the Supreme Court. Us non-attorneys in the crowd don't pay attention daily. We don't watch the channel that shows the justices. We're usually watching the Sweet 16 basketball, whatever. Something of a different ilk, okay? But I'm pleased with the array of community leaders and elected officials and professionals in the community that could come here today. More than anything, we just wanted to have each candidate, each sitting justice, just say a couple words. And then you're going to have a chance to ask them questions. Very informal. They have to leave here to be with Mr. Vidya at 1 o'clock. So when we see D hit the door, then everybody will leave.
People ask, why should I care about the Supreme Court and who serves on the Supreme Court? Because nothing the court does really affects me. But the truth of the matter is, what the court does really affects everybody in the state. It might be indirectly so that people don't see it. The Supreme Court is the court of last resort in Ohio, which means on matters of state law and the state constitution, there's no appeal from us. We're the final word. And our interpretation of the statutes and the Constitution means that all judges in the state of Ohio, all 720 trial and appellate judges, and around 385 trial and appellate courts are required to apply our interpretation of the law. So in resolving disputes, which the courts do, which is their primary role, to protect property rights, to protect individual rights, all the courts are applying the decisions of the Supreme Court. Well, you say, so what? I mean, that's what they should do. Why does that make any difference who serves on the court? Well, there are two philosophies about the role of a judge in our constitutional system. Some believe a judge should take a look at a case and decide what would be the fair or appropriate outcome, and then to reinterpret and apply the Constitution in a way that results in that. And others view the role of a judge, while important, but a more limited role. The role of a judge is to apply the law and the Constitution according to their plain meaning to the facts in dispute in the case, and not to remake or to rewrite the law in the judicial branch of government. We have 3 branches of government, a separation of powers, which for more than 200 years has preserved our freedom and independence in this country. And my view is that we need to honor and respect that separation and to apply the law according to its plain meaning, not to try to rewrite it. What that does is to create, in Ohio, a system of justice and a legal system that is stable, predictable, and consistent. How is that important? Well, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty in our world today. There's a lot of uncertainty in terms of what federal policy is going to be and how it might apply to us. There's a lot of changes going on in the state of Ohio and uncertainty as to how they might apply to us or be effective. Well, one thing we do not want to be uncertain is to how our legal system is going to operate and apply. So my view is that our role is when we act in our proper role as a judge, we do create that stability and predictability that allows attorneys to advise their clients as to what the law is, and it allows clients to make a good choice that will best suit their own personal and business affairs by knowing that they can depend upon this law and not have the ground rules changed upon them after they've committed to making decisions.
I had the privilege of serving in Ohio as a law clerk in 1971 for Justice J.J.P. Corrigan on the Ohio Supreme Court. Back at a time when C. William O'Neill was our Chief Justice, and he's the only person who had ever been Governor, Speaker of the House, and Chief Justice of the Ohio Supreme Court. That was a time when there was great respect for decisions of Ohio Supreme Court justices. Ohio was respected nationwide, and if a similar question arose in another state, members of other Supreme Courts would search to find out what Ohio had written and decided on the question. just prior to the time that I got on the court, the late Chief Justice Tom Moyer, who had served almost 24 years as Chief Justice before his untimely passing, lamented the fact that Ohio's image nationally had been hurt. It had been hurt because decisions of the court were being made not in conformity with what the legislature said the law was, but at the whim of those on the court. Those members of the court who figured that they knew better what justice meant than the will expressed in the legislature through the policy-making branch of government. And Tom Moyer was interested to restore public confidence in the decisions of the Ohio Supreme Court. And in a career that I've had on the court, I can tell you that some of those persons who were on the court then, as Justice Cupp referred to them, as the Gang of Four, are no longer there. And our court has righted itself. And you don't read about decisions of the Supreme Court other than the newsworthy aspect that they may have or the application they have to a case. But you don't read about headlining members of our court, nor do you read disparaging articles about the conduct of business at our court. Because we recognize a public trust that needs to be part of what we do. We assiduously prepare our cases for oral argument. We are one of the few states that has them prepared and shown, as Justice Cupp indicated, on government television networks, and you can view them. And as I travel, citizens in Ohio and judges around the nation have reinstilled their respect for what Ohio Supreme Court jurists are doing. Now, in judicial campaigns, there are no issues. We want judges who are open-minded, who are willing to look at both sides of every issue. But most of all, we want judges who will follow the law. Because judges don't have the opportunity to do what they feel is right. No, we take an oath, and our oath says we will support the Constitution and the laws of the state of Ohio. And the more we adhere to our oath, the more predictable the law becomes, the better lawyers are able to advise their clients, and the better clients will understand how to conduct their affairs.